Yes, it should have been the first official work day of the week, but today is a public holiday as Nigerians yesterday joined the rest of the world to celebrate the International Workers' Day, of course, International Labor Day, whichever appeals to you. So it is still the celebration, even as tomorrow is a public holiday. I hope you're enjoying your holiday. We don't have a holiday here. We have to be here so that we can keep you informed on what is happening in the country. So welcome on board. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, still part of our morning show right here, the one we call Morning Spice, and we keep you abreast on the happenings in the country. We talk to newsmakers. We bring analysts to dissect some of those issues bothering us in this country so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. My name is Michael Oni. Your guess is as good as mine. We decided to step away from the politicking that is going on in the country because we've talked so much about politics for about 6-7 episodes of this program, the platform. So we decided to take a break from politicking and talk about real issues affecting Nigerians, affecting the common man on the street. And of course, yesterday was the International Labor Day. So your guesses are good as mine. Let's talk about the plight of workers and pensioners in Nigeria, even as we bring the conversation back home. You know, on the auspicious International May Day holiday, the plight of Nigerian workers remains as harrowing as it is pathetic. You know, the working population is the engine room of a functional society that should in turn grease it for efficiency. And in Nigeria, workers are hard done by the culpable inefficient state that perpetually scorns them. But inherent in the catastrophe are opportunities for these workers to push back and demand better deals from the 2023 political season. And if there is ever any time the workers need to harmonize their numerical strength, I believe it is now. Some may call it self-interest, but it is now. We delve into that conversation anyways later on. Let's take political update to have an idea of what is happening in the country. Then we'll return to talk to an official of the Trade Union Congress today. Let's look at what happened. There were rallies across the states of the Federation, and as of the last time I checked, there was no rally in Abia State. It's a ceremonious gathering that should have marked the May Day celebration right here in Abia State, and it didn't happen. So maybe we get an idea of why that didn't take place in the states yesterday. Stay tuned.
This is Political Update. The Pan-Yoruba Social Cultural Group, Afenifere, has re-echoed calls for the presidential seat to be zoned to the southeast region of the country, insisting its stance is based on morality. The leader of the group, Ayo Adebanjo, said this on Sunday in Ogun State, explaining that the region should produce the next president in the spirit of fairness and unity. The other statesman, who also spoke about moves to review the constitution, accused President Muhammadu Buhari of having a private agenda for not pushing for the creation of state police in the country. Legal luminary Afe Babalola is reaffirming his stance that Nigeria should suspend plans for the 2023 general elections and opt for a stopgap interim government. Babalola, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria, reaffirmed his position in a monitored televised interview while raising fears that using the current constitution to conduct another election in Nigeria would only reproduce the faulty leadership and system being experienced in the country. In a bid to prevent Nigeria from slipping into such a situation, the legal icon stressed that a new constitution has become an urgent need. This is sequel to his earlier call for a return to the parliamentary system of government before another election is conducted.
All my listeners know that our problem is the constitution, which has made constitution very lucrative, the only business. You go to the street today, go out, you see 10 young boys, ask them, hey, what's your business? Politics. Out of the 10 will tell you is politics. It has become business. They want to contest election under the same constitution that has brought us to where we are left to go alone. Let us cure that disease, and that disease is constitution. And again, the same constitution, section 9, permits the members of House to amend the constitution.
As 2023 general elections approaches, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abia State is confirming that 14 out of 18 registered political parties have notified it of their plans for primary elections. Abia State Resident Electoral Commissioner Dr. Joseph Ilo made the disclosure in an interaction with Flow FM News in Umuahia and reminded the political parties to comply with a 30-day deadline to communicate their dates and plans to the Commission. He emphasized that the Commission in Abia State does not operate independently of INEC headquarters and urged politicians to channel their communications accordingly.
The Commission here in Abia does not operate independent of our headquarters. For parties that will come to force it down on us, that we must come to observe their primaries, we will not do so. There is a due process meant for this. Political parties are expected to communicate our commission headquarters. The commission headquarters will now pass on the same information and give us the names of persons, party officials who will come to the state to conduct their primaries. That is the process. Anything short of this is unacceptable to us, and we may not attend.
All Progressive Grand Alliance governorship aspirant in Abia State, Professor Gregory Ibe, has unveiled comprehensive public service reforms which he claimed will enhance the conditions of Abia civil service if elected governor in the 2023 general elections. In a statement to mark the 2023 Workers' Day, the aspirant said the public service reforms, when implemented, will improve the general welfare package of workers in the state. Professor Ibe praised the enterprising spirit of the Abia workers, who he described as resilient, focused and committed, pledging to partner the organized private sector and formulating strategic policies that will help in fashioning more job opportunities for Abia youths as a way of curbing the current high rate of unemployment in the state. That was Political Update. I am Wisdom Thomas.
Well, thank you very much, Wisdom, for that comprehensive political update. And now you have an idea of what is happening in the country as far as politicking is concerned. Now let's delve into the conversation today on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, as we look at the plights of Nigerian workers, even as the Nigerian workers joined the rest of the world yesterday to celebrate the International Labour Day, which is a yearly event that is marked on the 1st of May 2022. Joining me this morning is Gamaliel Acho. He's the chairman, planning committee for the 2022 May Day for the Trade Union Congress. Mr. Gamaliel, glad to have you join us. Good morning to you and welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great. So let's delve into the conversation and look at the plight of Nigerian workers. How will you describe a typical Nigerian worker, both in the private and public sector?
The typical Nigerian worker is the popularized individual that is only living from hand to mouth, waiting that a day will come when things will turn to his positive condition.
That's somehow. But before we delve into the conversation proper, let me enlighten my listener just a bit with some statistics I was able to pull out for the purpose of this conversation. We have the unemployment rate in the country is officially pegged at 33.3%, and a lot more of the employed are actually in the underemployment cycle, earning less than the 30,000 naira minimum wage a month. That informed the World Bank's recent report that only 17% of employed Nigerians hold the wage jobs that can lift them out of poverty. And most harrowing is that the workers are also battered by high inflation that has officially ballooned to 15.9%, and the cost of living is pushing higher. Maybe that informed your description of the plight of Nigerian workers. So let's bring it back home. We were meant to have a May Day, which is a ritual, if I may put it that way.
Yeah.
A yearly ritual, an annual ritual that states of the federation do. They hold rally, they talk about their plight and what happened in Abia State, because something like that didn't happen in this state, even as states of the federation had theirs, even states that we were expecting them to stop such rallies because of the security situation in the far north. So what happened?
Well, in Abia, there's a different line of thinking, and that is thinking outside the box. If we look at May Day as a day in which workers, whether public or private sector, has to gather, make the noise, do march pasts, that's a ritual that does not lift up people from understanding what has been done and what needs to be done. In the case of Abia this time, the leadership of the organized labor, especially the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria Abia State Council, thought it wise that we have to think outside the box, and that is to gather people, create an avenue where there has to be lectures that has to be delivered, and from such lectures a think tank will be created. And in creating the think tank, people has to look at the past and then look at the present, make a focus of the future. From that point, they will be able now to fashion out an idea through which both the worker and the employee has to look at issues and know how to address it as they come around.
So there was no gathering anywhere?
There was a gathering, actually, but it was not the usual march past, but it was the lecture type of gathering, like a symposium, in which there has to be speakers, the rapporteur,
why throwing that line, which is quite different from the normal pomp and pageantry that comes with the May Day celebration that we've known in this country?
Well, the circumstance in a particular climate determines what the leadership or those at the helm of affairs has to look at. If you keep on doing what you have been doing all the while long, you are going to get the same result you always get. So if it's the ritual of march past and all whatnot, we are not actually going to have a focus of how we get out of the circumstance that surrounds the average worker, especially in Abia here. That's why we have to look at it from this perspective.
Let's look at the theme of this year's celebration of the International Workers' Day: labor, politics, and the quest for good governance and development. Do you have a role to play in entrenching good governance for the people? Labours, I believe, are meant to be apolitical, but right now, they even have a political party under the Labour Party.
No, if the generality of the public or the populace have that concept, they are getting it wrong. Right from the colonial days, the labor movement has always been involved in politics. Because if you have the wrong choice of leaders at the political class, they are likely going to affect the situation or the economic condition of the average worker. So the labor getting involved in politics this time is to find a way that through that symposium, look at the performances of the political class, look at the categories of people that are coming up to vie for various offices. Then you'll be able to have a policy trust to say, look, if you are going to canvass for votes at this time, look at the economy, look at the socio-economic indices within the jurisdiction of such a particular environment. Then you must have to have a policy that will positively affect not just the worker, but the entire citizenry.
Do you think the ruling class has been sincere to the workers, both at the national and the state level, in terms of their struggle? Because every time we talk about workers, one thing that comes to mind is pension, salaries, gratuities, and we don't even talk about some other policies. Well, it's all about salaries, pensions, and gratuities. What do you have to say to this, especially as far as the ruling class, the role the ruling class is playing in ensuring that you get what belongs to you?
The ruling class has not been fair because their concept is emasculation of a worker, regarding the worker as the ox that has to tread the corn but should not eat. On the other hand, they have not been able to take care of the view that there has to be an enabling environment where the economy grows, benefits those that are in the productive sector and those that are rendering the services. But in the case of our climb here, the ruling class only thinks of themselves. Unfortunately, they are only about 5% of the populace. And in such a situation, creating an avenue where they have to enrich themselves more and allow the rest of the society, especially the working class, to suffer has always been their concept. It didn't start today, but I think at this time, the workers are coming to a point where they think that something has to be done, and that's to make them understand that all this has to be corrected.
Maybe the problem is with the manner of approach that the unions engage in ensuring that they get what they deserve. Because it looks like we are always on the same line every year when we celebrate the workers, fighting about their rights, talking about minimum wage, talking about the salaries. Is it not time to change your manner of approach?
The manner of approach in terms of desire and quest for the revolution of things happening in the society is what we did. So from the symposium, when the rapporteur would have concluded his work, then the committee with a communique, there has to be a policy thrust from the labor side, making the ruling class to understand that, look, all these things you have done all this while that has not lifted up the entire society. Look at it from this angle. You have to take these steps 1, 2, 3, 4.
Interesting. In case you just joined us, it is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM, and we're looking at the plight of Nigerian workers as Nigeria joined the rest of the world yesterday to celebrate the Workers' Day. Of course, it's an international event that comes up every first day of May, and of course, because that was celebrated yesterday being a weekend, we have a public holiday today. Let's listen to the NLC president, Ayuba Waba, who we monitored yesterday when he granted an interview concerning the year's celebration, the International Labour Day.
It speaks about the state of Nigerian worker, which has been affected by a lot of factors, particularly the challenges in the economy. So we can say invariably that Nigerian worker and pensioner have not fared very well. If the economy is doing well, you know that Nigerians will fare well, but with the hyperinflation, with the challenges in the economy, and in most cases where even pensioners and workers are not earning their wages as and when due, as you can see from the reportage, a lot of issues outstanding, and basically, and very importantly, is that even the minimum wage of 30,000, you know that is actually eroded with the hyperinflation. So basically, this is the state of the situation of Nigerian worker and pensioner.
All right, let me return to you, Mr. Gamalian Acho, in the studio. Is it possible for us to have an end to this agitation of salaries and pensions and gratuities, which has actually enveloped the discussion when we talk about workers in the country? Is it possible in this country, Nigeria? Because this has been the rhetorics right from 1960 when we got independence.
The possibility of coming to an end is this: when those who vie for political offices have a blueprint of what they want to do concerning the economy, and those who generate the revenue that keeps the economy running. Unfortunately, it's not peculiar to Nigeria. In other African countries, that has been a problem. But if you look at Asia, you will discover that the issue of minimum wage does not come up every now and then. Why? Because they have inbuilt mechanism that enables the economy to be triggered in such a way that the minimum wage is reviewed every January without all these hula bala and funfair of minimum wage discussions and negotiations. That has not been done in Nigeria. When the labor movement canvassed for it the other time, we thought we were dealing with sincere, honest bourgeois, but we never knew it was the other side of the game. Otherwise, with the second to the last minimum wage act, that should have been corrected, because it was embedded in that act that every 5 years this thing should be reviewed. If that was obeyed, as I agreed, it would have taken care of the issue of
the rightful thing for any government in power is to look at the minimum wage after 5 years. That's according to that act.
according to that act, it's not just the government, it's a tripartite kind of a thing.
Okay.
The committee that involves the government as an employer of labor, then NECA, that's the employers of labor that embraces the private sector. Then the unions, looking at it in a room, doing the necessary things, taking the indices into consideration. That adjustment would have been done without struggles and without fight.
Perhaps maybe the balkanization of the union to splitter unions affected the agitation of the workers to have a harmonized fight, if I can put it that way. You understand what I mean by balkanization? You split it into, you have trade union congress, you have TUC, you have ULC, you have several unions. Do you think, maybe some persons are of the opinion that it has affected the fight to have a harmonized cause?
No, there's no balkanization of the unions. What happens is that the environment created a situation where the blue collar worker and the white collar cannot be on the same union.
Okay.
But be that as it may, for all to come together, because there's one factor that binds us together, that's the welfare of the worker. The union only looks at the welfare of the individual members, and the welfare of the individual members is to make sure that there's conducive environment that enables the worker to give his optimum service to the employer. Now, when that is done, it becomes easier for the employer to have the required and expected growth. And when the growth is coming, then the worker demands to be adequately compensated.
Okay. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. So, who takes care of what as it stands now? I know you represent TUC. So, what do you take care as far as the workers' welfare is concerned in this country?
In terms of workers, there have been a system or a platform that have been created since the colonial days, and that is the Joint Public Service Negotiating Council.
Okay.
It started in 1945, and it was weekly councils, and it has been there up to date. What happens is that for the public service, the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council, which embraces the two labor federations in Nigeria, are the authority that discusses with the employers, in this sense the government, to see that everything is taken care of. So if the enabling environment is there, the periodic meetings of this organization should have looked at issues that are prevalent, know how to resolve it, in order to see that there is a smooth transition from one point to the other.
Okay.
But if that body does not meet, it creates now a forum that the labor federations will now begin to feel that there's emasculation of the organism through which the proper things has to be done.
Okay.
And that's what brings agitation all over the place.
All right, I'm going to draw the lines open early, but that will be after I take take a break. We're looking at the plight of Nigerian workers as the labor unions celebrated, and Nigerian workers marked the International Labor Day yesterday, the 1st of May. And I have been speaking with Mr. Gamaliel Acho. He's the chairman planning committee for the 2022 May Day for the Trade Union Congress. You can follow the conversation live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Flow949FM. When we return, we'll talk about Abia. It seems Abia issue as far as workers is concerned is very peculiar, because we have some workers groaning of months of unpaid salaries, some not really paid, not fully paid rather, I meant, and the pensioners also. A couple of days before the International Labor Day, there was a protest. In fact, They took their protest to the front of the government house right here in Umuahia, the capital of Abia State, when they blocked the late siege until they were addressed by officials of the government. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll continue the conversation this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Yes, indeed. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. Of course, still part of our morning show, and I hope you're enjoying your holidays as we have an extension of the Workers' Day, because yesterday was part of the weekend, normal weekend that we should enjoy. So federal government decided to give the workers a day off, and it's extended till tomorrow, because tomorrow is, I believe, is Saturday. So let's move on the conversation, and we've been talking about the plight of workers, Nigerian workers, and we've been speaking with Gamaliel Acho. He's the chairman planning committee for the 2022 May Day for the Trade Union Congress, and we've looked at several factors, of course, affecting the welfare of workers in Nigeria. Let's bring the conversation back home, but before then, let's listen to the NLC president, the Nigeria Labour Congress president, Ayuba Waba, again, why the agitation is very important at this point in time that we're getting set for the 2023 general elections. Listen to him.
Well, thank you. We are in another election cycle, and with a lot of effort that have been made to get the new electoral act in place, there is a lot of confidence that votes will count, and that it will not be one man, one vote, one woman, one vote, and therefore the issue of worker apathy, I think it will be addressed, and basically also that workers will have to take their destinies in their hand. They are citizens of the country, and first and foremost, they also have a right to elect leaders. And what we think also is important at this point in time, instead of continue to lament, is also to take our destinies in our hand. You can see even at the May Day rally, workers displaying their voters' card. That is their power. Because the power of the ballot is actually more stronger than any other power. So basically that is what workers are saying, that, well, we are tired of lamentation, and we are tired of agonizing. We are now going to organize, and this is the issue that I think is most important at this point in time, because we are now at another election cycle, and basically we think the problem of Nigeria is not something that is not unsurmountable. It can be surmounted. We have many that I think, looking at the array of Nigerians that are making waves around the world, we are not in short supply of persons with ability to actually fix our economy, fix the security challenge, and also address some of the social security challenges. So basically we thought that we should be able to exercise that franchise.
All right, that's Ayuba Waba there, the NLC president, saying that the workers might take the agitation and channel it to the polling units, and so that we will move up from this yearly agitation coming from Nigerian workers. So, Mr. Gamaliel, do we have anything to celebrate in Abia State? Because some of the feedbacks I'm getting already from our feedback platforms, people are saying workers in Abia State has nothing to celebrate, like Omusonye Akuche on our Facebook page, saying we have nothing to celebrate in Abia because the workers are suffering. Do you think we have a reason to celebrate workers in the state? Do the workers have something to celebrate rather?
It's not that a celebration, rather it's a moment of assessment of what happened yesterday, what's happening today, and what we think should happen tomorrow. Like as I said earlier on, it's not a ritual kind of a thing. The workers gathering in Abia here, it was a moment of reflection. What has been the state of things with the political class? What has been the state of things with the worker and the one that exited the working force and has become a pensioner? Then how do we address all these shortcomings so that the rhetorics does not continue even tomorrow?
What about looking at looking at other channels of other means of agitation. For example, taking the government to court, because it looks like even strike actions may not be the best option as we speak. ASU has been on strike since the 14th of February, and it looks like it's not yielding any results. Even strike action is normal for this country. The Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, was booed yesterday during the May Day celebration in Abuja, and despite that, he still said that you can't twist the government to yield to ASU's demand, despite the booing and the agitation. So it looks like the maximum means of talking to the I don't know how to construct that now. Your means of agitation, it looks like it is not working. Your channel of communicating to the government seems not to be working again. Why don't you seek legal means?
Well, strike in the labor parlance is the last option. Under the Trade Disputes Act,
yes,
there are different approaches before strike is embarked upon.
Okay.
But what happens these days, because of the approach of non-commitment to agreements that are reached.
Non-commitment on the part of who?
Non-commitment on the part of the employers of labor. Because it's a common phenomenon in Nigeria amongst the ruling class and employers of labor not to honor agreements that are entered. And the bargaining procedure takes a lot of time before they come to conclusion. That's why it seems as if most unions like ASU incited embark on strike. But as it stands today, if you have an overview of all the states of the Federation, you will discover that at times many of them are not adopting the strike option, but rather we look at it on the other provisions of the Trade Disputes Act and see how to get issues sorted out and resolved, so that it saves time, 2, it saves resources, 3, it enables the rest of the public to be able to understand. Because when strike becomes too often, the populace are wearied, and not only that, they look at it as if labor is not considerate of the plight of other segments of the population.
All right. You can join the conversation this morning. We're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Flow949FM. You can drop your comments there. Comments are already pouring in. You can also call 0808 182 6949 or 0811-605-2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, Michael.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Comrade Manuel Okokampono.
You're welcome, comrade.
Thank you. Michael, the truth of the matter is that workers' condition is very, very pathetic, especially in Nadia. Do you know what Ogibe said yesterday? I think you have what he said. Where other fashion are talking another thing. Michael, it's very, very pathetic. Few days ago, the pensioners went to government house and cried. But there's something they do to them. They're not supposed to beg for it. What is it? What is happening? Ogibe is working without the state government. Where the national have told him to step down, that is not the.
That's your opinion, that he's working with the Abia state government.
He's working with something now.
Do you have evidence to that, comrade?
I know what I'm telling you. He's working with them. After the chairman telling the governor, thanking governor the way he's treating them, where you're going workers. What a sabotage. Michael, leave that man. Just forget about those people.
All right, thank you, comrade, for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
My name is Joseph Ejindo. I am calling from Alai.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Joseph.
Honestly, the question is the conditions of workers in Nigeria, not only in United States, but the entire federation. But one thing that I want to talk about at the state government concerning our workers, though there are some areas that we fail to bring in where the government have addressed when it comes to salary payments of workers. For instance, now, in a ministry, there are some ministries that the government is not owing. The government have paid them up to date, while there are some ministries who are being owed, including pensioners, their gratuities, and others. I am begging the governor, he loves workers, he loves Zambians, and he has been doing well in so many areas. I'm appealing to him, hence that this issue of a backlog debt of the pensioners and the workers become issue-based campaign against the government. As it has continued to rescue Zambians, because we would like a situation whereby PDP will retain the state to avoid what is happening in other states. Because we know it very well that other states who are not PDP, they are suffering banditry and decent killings. But the government of Governor Kesi Bazi, in his own wisdom, he knows how he's acting tonight. That we have a bandit with a police state.
All right, quickly wrap up. I thought Mr. Joseph.
So for PDP to win election come 2023, the governor should look into the problems of the pensioners and the so that the government will continue to retain. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM. Good morning.
Good morning. Engineer Addison Ono, I'm calling from Zerimo.
You're welcome, engineer.
I got down by they said anything any man so is what he will reap. If we learn to tell ourselves the truth, Nigeria will be better from grassroots, from family. Like what we are talking about, who are the Nigerian workers, who are the trade unions? Are they productive? If they are productive, how are they making their earnings? If you go to local government, for example, what are the staffs of the local government doing? Go to Ministry of Works. If you go there, what are they doing? Ministry of Agriculture, what are they producing? If they are all of us are only depending on consuming as a consumer. Who will be paying us? And all of us are now saying unemployment. Who will be paying us? There is no industry, nothing productivity. Where will money coming? The crude oil we are having are not refined in Nigeria. Even the little one that be refined by illegality will not be catalyzed to be a good development. If they can refine oil at the local level, then and it can be something people will be using. Why not boast it? You see, so some of the things we are talking. How will Nigeria be good? And how would they be paid if we are to do election? The same people you see that as the guy is talking there will be the people that the politicians will use in this money, and they will get the political plan, and they will choose wrong leaders. You see, and not only that, it's just as if we are saying, well, every man vote will count. You forget that how the Yahoo can manipulate computer and other things, and money will be coming to their distance, they'll be eating. The same thing you will see on the server. Before you know it, they will start collecting people PVC and be scanning it into the server. And the people who are not there will be the one to manipulate. It is even so easy to rig election on machine than any other thing. If they will know that, you will see mistakes, you will see what is going to happen.
Right,
please, I'm begging. Let us repent. Repentance is what Nigeria needs from grassroots, from families. A father who born a child, a little kid, and you know that you cannot afford to send him to school. You instead of him to teach him how to farm. So your neighbor will push you. You will not go and be sending him where your hand will. Knowledge. The child will go to school instead of learning. He will go there to learn how to manipulate things.
With us, we do appreciate you. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Happy New Month and Happy New Week in advance.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And please let us be mindful of what is on television, on radio. And if what, let's use our time. I still remember Mr. Prince Uluswago from Helmona Chobo. My take is this: actually, the workers and Nigerian Labour Congress has been patronized. You told those participants there, they said no, but to me, I can see that they are completely patronized and being divided by the federal government. NUC, and Nigerian Labour Congress is saying another thing. NUC will be saying, what is the other affiliated body? That is
Hello?
Do you mean TUC?
Yeah, TUC will be saying different thing altogether. So there is no way they can fight for the right of the popular workers. The thing is this: the Labour has actually jumped gun when they ought to have gone on strike. They didn't do it. Whatever they are doing now is being politicized. It is 1 year to the election, and whatever they are telling us now, most importantly, their leaders, they are cheating us. They are cheating the entire labor force. Because what is due for labor is not received by the entire generation of the workers. Rather, those people that call themselves the leaders of those workers. So the issue is this: they have said that they are taking their fight to the polling unit. It will not work because the system that makes the polling unit work is not corrected already. So for them to correct it, they should fight from the grassroots, not going to the polling unit. That's my thing, and God bless you, my brother.
Thank you for your take. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform. Yes, good morning to you. If you can adjust, if this is your phone or you change your location so that we can have smooth conversation, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please.
Orientation Minister,
all right.
You see, this issue of workers' welfare is my concern. It appears labor leaders, I don't know, they are just doing little or nothing about it. The issue of not payment and salary payment, what are they doing about it? Does it mean some of these labor leaders are compromised? If that is the case, I am trying to have a rethink. Let them remember that there is always a judgment. That whatever a man should sow, that exactly shall he reap. That is just the little thing I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's get more reactions. Hello. Okay, that didn't pull through. Daniel Chigozie on our Facebook page says, watching from Umwipo town, workers there and the people are yet to be paid their salaries, pension and gratuities. And Sen Akuche JP on the Facebook page says, I'm watching live from Umar here. Workers in Abia has nothing to celebrate. Let's be truthful to ourselves. Abia state government is not fair in their treatment to the workers. How can a government that claimed that they are democratic chose to owe workers about 30 months salaries and pensions, and yet you expect them to continue working with an empty stomach? Come 2023, Abia will vote them out of the government house and retire them. Ezeka Elvis says, good morning, Mike and the guest in the studio. The plight and the suffering of Nigerian workers, especially in Abia State, is nothing good to write home about. Those at the helm of affairs are not even doing enough to help solve this unending problem affecting not just the workers, but the entire citizenry. The bitter truth is workers are not regarded, appreciated, and celebrated as they should be in this country, and yet our politicians are out busy buying different party forms from 100 million naira, while pensioners are being denied their salaries and gratuities. What a big shame on our leaders. May God have mercy upon us in this country. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm calling you from Isukwata, Abia State.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, concerning Abia workers, this has been a terrible issue that has been, some issue that the government has to introduce and has to look into. But you can't tell me that a worker will be working, and for past like 1 year they will not even pay. This is not the way to be done. Look at the local government. Look at the Hospital Management Board (HMB). They protest last time ago, and you go to this thing. You go to Arochukwu College of Education, they are owing them a lot of things. And you go to other sectors, this is not the way to be doing it. And if you come to this government, they will be telling you these people are parastatals. And it's not the way to be done. It's not supposed to be owing them, and you will be, staying there, and you'll be saying these people are parastatals. They should be generating money for themselves. It's not the way to be done it. As you pay ministry, you pay the parastatals as well as when due, so that things will be working. I know. But if you be owing them and saying these people are parastatals, and they will not deliver to the state, and they will not give a good health care even in the other sectors. They will not deliver well to the state. But if you are paying them, look at Edo State Governor. He said he will add 40,000 minimum wage. So his workers, this is an encouraging and a good governor. This is a good person that at least if you call of these people that the workers will vote for him more and vote for him to add him in another place to go and the contest. That is how to do it.
Thank you.
They are suffering. They are starving every day and night. The governor has to pay them. It's not good to be doing workers and pensioners. It's not good.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Greetings, Michael, and your guest. I'm Bright from Okigwe. We're talking about celebration. What are the workers celebrating? Is it how they have been neglected even when they go on strike? Workers work for nothing to show from the government. Even the pensioners are suffering. This current administration, both at the state and federal levels, have failed us in all ramifications. Mike, there is nothing to write home about for this Workers' Day. There is hunger in the land. Inflation is high. No payment of wages, all on deaf ears. Reverend Moses from Imo State. This one says, Abia workers are yet to receive their salaries. Please, the governor should pay us our April salaries so as to enable us to celebrate the Workers' Day. Ology from Obingwa. Hi, sirs. I'm Honorable Obuagu Noble Enyoko. On the striking plight of Nigerian workers, the various sub-unions should work out economic system ideas to make the workers to establish some clean, simple economic ventures where salaries allowances could be seen as seed grains without recourse. This one says, good evening, or good morning rather. My name is Buchi, reporting from Ungwa. Local government workers celebrate May Day with non-payment of 2020 November and December salary, non-payment of leave allowances for over 6 years, currently paying workers 70-80 which way. And this one says, please, I want to be clear. What should be the minimum wage of a worker that is earning 20,000 naira, or the minimum wage is increased to 30,000? Why is labor union being able to enforce it in so many states and not Abia? And Chinaza Ukebu says, good morning, gentlemen. The impunity melted on Abia workers is too much. Months of unpaid salaries and allowances, inability to pay pensioners and gratuities, short payment of salaries for local government workers and teachers, and so on. It is convincing to say without mincing words that the government, Abia State government, has failed woefully in terms of workers' welfare. That's coming from Chinaza Ukebu. Onwuka Cyril Chukwemeka says, good morning, Mike and guests. Please, this issue of Abia State non-payment of salary, pension and gratuities has gotten out of hand. It seems the governor does not care about the well-being of the workers. I was watching the Enugu State's May Day yesterday in Okwara Square. You need to see how happy they were while performing their march past. But Abia State's own just started with a protest. Please, something has to be done very fast. Okay, we need to step out of the studio, but I know you want to respond to some of the comments. 90% of the comments from the feedback platforms were about Abia State government owing workers gratuities, pensions. So it will not be right for you to be here as a union leader without you sharing your thoughts on this. I don't know if you're in the position to respond to what the union, I know there is joint negotiating council. What are they doing concerning this indebtedness?
The indebtedness has taken some time. And when there's much accumulation of debts, it becomes much more difficult for the person owing to know how to defray those costs. On the side of the Joint State Public Service Negotiating Council, we had made moves before the International Workers' Day to sit down with the appropriate personnel involved who has to represent the authorities outside the governor so that these issues are sorted out point by point.
Okay.
But that meeting has not held. But that does not mean that we have given up, because we know the membership are suffering. We look at it from our own perspective that one of the basic facts is that we have to sit down and now discuss how these accumulated arrears of salaries and pensions and other allowances we have to be defrayed before the next election. Because if it's not defrayed, it creates a bad precedent, in the sense that whoever that comes on board next time will say it was not accumulated during his time. Or when they want to run away from such issues, they say, oh, gentlemen, I'm just coming on the seat. Can you give me some time to settle down? So that's the more reason why we are now pushing that we have to meet with those concerned so that we'll now discuss point by point and see what they have to do so as to alleviate the sufferings of our people and the conditions be reduced to the barest minimum.
All right. We need to step out of the studio. Thank you very much, Mr. Gamaliel Acho, the Chairman Planning Committee for 2022 May Day TUC in Abia State. Thank you so much for joining us and joining the conversation this morning on the platform.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze, Ezine Okoro, Wisdom Thomas, and also Elder Proper for helping out today. And many thanks to you for listening, and the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Stanley and Chinedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. Happy Workers' Day to you, even as you're still at home for the holidays, of course, which extends till tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Michael Oni.